So we've had a really phenomenal year with InterSystems IntelliCare. We announced the launch of IntelliCare in March at HIMSS in Las Vegas. We have probably 4 or 5 customers around the world in various states of early adoption. We're really honored and thrilled to have EMC Healthcare in Jakarta as our first live early adopter, and you'll be hearing from EMC, I think, right after me. So they're live in production. So unlike the session this morning, I don't have to worry about the lawyers because everything we're going to be showing you today is in fact released product. It's where we're at today. The previous session was kind of an indication of direction where we're going tomorrow. So I'm going to sort of take you through some of the key points about IntelliCare, and then you'll be happy to hear, you don't have to hear me talk for the full half hour or whatever time we have together. Interspersed, we'll be looking at some demos of IntelliCare in action, and I'll come and make some commentary about them. So traditional EHRs, and we like to think that, probably blocking the screen completely, we like to think that TrackCare is the best of the traditional EHRs, but they work in a specific way due to sort of technological and business constraints. And one way to think about this is they tend to force a lot of the intellectual lifting from the system to the user. So the users think in this kind of unstructured, natural way, and the technology forces them to think, to take the experience they have and convert it to things like coded diagnosis and problems and lookup lists and things like that. And they tend to spend a lot of time focusing on the computer rather than the patient. So with IntelliCare, the ultimate goal is to rebalance the workload and allow the users to spend more time with their patients, more time focusing on patient care, saving the time and effort, and really working in a much more natural way. And you saw a little bit of that in the previous session. But we've done this by really reimagining the way an EHR should work with AI at its center. Like all other InterSystems products, IntelliCare sits on the Iris for Health Foundation. Scott went through some of the key architectural points there. This notion of bringing the processing to the data is something that we're really able to leverage with IntelliCare. So everything, and we also inherit the incredible interoperability capabilities of the Iris platform, which, like TrackCare, IntelliCare inherits all of that, the ability to sort of natively speak in FHIR or HL7 or any of the various flavors of interoperability that you require, making full access to all of your data. Well, on top of Iris, we've built the IntelliCare Foundation, which itself sits on the TrackCare Foundation. So one point that's maybe worth making, because a lot of you are TrackCare customers, is we've made the progression from TrackCare to Iris incredibly easy. So all of the, Iris sits on top of the TrackCare Foundation. So all of your workflows, your screen layouts, the experience, and you saw some of that earlier when I was choosing the patient and navigating around, all of that carries forward. So for an existing TrackCare customer, the IntelliCare experience comes across as if an add-on to your existing investment. So if you're in the middle of deploying, or if you're working towards deploying the mobile-enabled user interface and our standard product, that gives you the exact right foundation to move to IntelliCare. All of that effort is effort that persists. So IntelliCare Foundation is the foundational product with AI at its center, which sits on top of Iris. And around that, we have all the departments you would imagine: revenue cycle management, digital front door, labs, and all the rest of them. We then, on top of that, build a set of advanced AI solutions. So today, the ambient module is the one example of that. In the future, we may get into some advanced revenue cycle and some other modules that really sit beyond the normal departmental systems of EHRs. But and so this architecture slide will persist, but the one thing that we would consider advanced AI is ambient. Our ambient module does much more than what you may have seen from third-party ambient scribes. So yes, it captures the conversation and it produces structured notes, but it also pulls out actions, orders, problems, diagnosis, all those things to enable really fast, seamless, and intuitive driving of the record. And you'll see some of that. So there's a variety of use cases across the spectrum of the operations of the hospital. You're going to see today mostly clinical doctor and nurse type interactions. And in our first release, that's really the majority of it. We've also, in IntelliCare today, we've AI-enabled the coding workbench to do diagnosis and procedure codes, automatic suggestions. We're looking to expand that to DRG and a few other things. But today, it's largely clinical. But the intention is to expand across the entire set of operations. I think there's a lot of opportunity around the administrative side, patient flow, patient movements, billing, operations. So the point of this slide really is to get across that our intention, even if we're not 100% there today, is to expand across the entire system. This is our platform for the future. It's our platform to leverage AI in healthcare, and it's something that we're really excited about. So some of you may know my colleague, Tracy Randall, if she's worked on your implementations. I am sorry to say that while preparing for this event, Tracy's had an emergency.
Hello, Tracy. Hello. She's unconscious with no pulse.
Scribe started. Patient is unconscious, no pulse.
Starting compression now.
Airway secure.
Thirty compressions in.
2 breaths delivered.
Okay, let's continue compressions, please. Ventilation. Okay, I'm going to push in a milligram of IV adrenaline.
1 milligram of adrenaline administered IV, compressions, bag valve mask ventilations ongoing.
Okay, end of first cycle. Can we do a rhythm check, please?
Patient is in asystole, no pulse or respiration.
Okay, let's continue compressions and ventilation. Okay, thanks, Marie. Let's do a second cycle of CPR.
Patient is in sinus rhythm, pulse present.
Successful return of spontaneous circulation, scribe ended.
Okay, we've got a palpable pulse and we've got a measurable blood pressure. Let's get her into a post-resuscitation care, please.
Uploading scribe. Scribe uploaded.
In the encounter record, so Felicity has uploaded the scribe recording, and I'll just pull that up. Got that cardiac arrest. Pull up some actions. Okay, so what you're seeing here is we've got the summary note here. Let me see. We've got a good record of that CPR. We've got some structured documentation that's been picked up from the free text notes. And we've got the bloods that I've requested. So all good. We'll just enter that into the patient's notes.
What you've seen here is the future of emergency care. This is a future where technology doesn't take over the room. It sits in the back. So the entire encounter was recorded on the IntelliCare app on a phone or a portable device, automatically transcribed, saving an enormous amount of time. And if you think about sort of, compare what you saw or what the experience is with the traditional methods, the statistics you'll see in this presentation are based on our internal testing, and we expect them to play out as we deploy this. But substantial time savings, and really more importantly, the ability to focus on the patient rather than focusing on the computer. Effectively real-time documentation, but captured by audio rather than typing in and splitting your time. Really smooth and seamless. And in fact, doing more documentation than you probably ordinarily would. One of the feedback we've had is in addition to time savings, one of the advantages is actually you're creating a more complete record. And we all understand that the more complete record is what you need for decision support and analytics and all kinds of value in the future. So anything we can do to build a more comprehensive record is a good thing for all of us. So we're gonna look at some nursing interactions now. So she's been stabilized, she's in the ward. I think it's time for a shift change, so we'll see a nurse handover.
Hi, Ange. My name's Didier. I'm from emergency, so I'm here to hand over Tracy.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to open up her hand over documentation. So this is Tracy. She's a 67-year-old female. She was admitted this morning in emergency with pneumonia. Subsequently, after admission, she suffered a cardiac arrest. It was an asystolic arrest which was treated with CPR, 1 milligram of adrenaline, and she's now back in normal sinus rhythm. Previous problems current problems are pneumonia, obviously the cardiac arrest, but she also has hypercholesterolemia, and she's had a past history of acute appendicitis. She is hard of hearing. She has allergies to latex, which is mild, but morphine moderate, and she complains of nausea and vomiting. These are her most recent observations, and you can see the most recent observations are all within normal limits. She's on benzylpenicillin 1.2 grams, which was actually prescribed prior to the cardiac arrest for her pneumonia, and that's every 6 hours, and that's continuing. She's also having paracetamol PRN every 4 hours, and she's on Crestor 10 milligrams orally at night for her hypercholesterolemia. She currently has labs and radiology orders pending, and she hasn't had a VT or falls risk assessment performed as part of this admission.
Okay, thanks Didier. I'll take over from here. Hi Tracy, I'm Ange. I'm going to be your nurse for today.
Hi, Ange.
I'm going to do a few checks now. First thing I'm going to do is just review your pain trend. Make sure we've got you on the right pain medications. Okay, so I can see your pain is increasing at the decreasing. So that's good. We'll keep you on the same medication. So I'm going to go ahead and do a falls risk as well. Okay, you're at high risk of falls at the moment. That's okay. We're going to put some measures in place to keep you safe. And I'm just going to go ahead and review your VT assessment as well. Make sure you're not at risk of any blood clots. So at the moment, just with the condition you're in at the moment, we're at slightly high risk as well. But again, we'll put some measures in place to look after you. We're going to have the doctor come in and do a visit with you now. Okay.
Hello, Tracy. You gave us quite a scare, but you're doing much better now. Your heart looks quite stable. We're planning to do a cardiac catheterization this week. Before we go ahead, it's actually quite straightforward and it should give us some clear answers. We would really like to give you some information about coronary artery disease and the procedure. What language would you prefer for that information?
Well, for me, I'd like it in English, but my family are really worried about me, so could I get it in Italian as well, please?
Absolutely, no problem at all. We'll get a copy of the information in both English and Italian. Ange, can you assist with that?
Yes, certainly. So I'm going to pull up the information here, and I'll save it to your notes if it ever needs to be printed off again for you, Tracy.
All right, I can see that. Here you are. I'll print these off for you and your family, but you may actually review them right now.
It's fantastic. This is the first time my family have been able to understand what's going on with my treatment plan.
Excellent.
Okay, so quite a lot to unpack in that one. So again, if you think about the nursing handover that you saw, the typical pre-IntelliCare handover involves quite a bit more looking around the record. The ability to have these, and again, these prompts can be personalized, they can be set at the organization level, at the region level, or even at the individual user level. So the chief nursing officer could establish the handover prompts, for example, or a set depending on the specialty. And really save a substantial amount of time. And again, I don't mean to sound, when I say time saved, don't translate that automatically to money. It could be money as well, but this is time you can spend with other patients as well. You can choose how you spend that time. So, just a bit of quick math. Imagine if you save 10 minutes per patient, 5 minutes a day, that's 50 minutes per nurse per shift, and you multiply that out by 25 patients in a ward with 2 handovers a day for the patient. And the statistics really start to add up for substantial savings. And of course, what do you do with that savings? You're boosting the availability of your nursing staff, you're better supporting patient safety, and staff well-being obviously is incredibly important. This idea of, again, take that cognitive burden off of the user, put it back in the system. We're finally at a point where the technology enables us to do that. And I think the other really significant, and you just saw a little bit of that at the end, was empowering patients with the information they need. A well-educated patient is a patient who's going to have a better outcome. And again, the multilingual capabilities of the AI combined with the flexibility and the ability to produce letters. That was a fairly basic example you saw, but there's no reason why you couldn't base the letter on the specific patient record, the specific treatments, the demographics. There's no end to how you can customize that and really make that information available, highly personalized, highly targeted, rather than sort of generic pamphlets. We think that's got a really good impact on patients. So I'm happy to say we're now 2 weeks later. Tracy's had quite a miraculous recovery. Looking very good for a 67-year-old. We'll go back to the outpatient clinic where Dr. Felicity is going to see her for a follow-up. So Dr. Felicity, why don't you probably want to review her record before
Oh,
we call
absolutely.
the patient in.
So I'm going to bring up a case summary. So this is just going to give me some information that any clinician would need prior to seeing a patient in outpatient. So Tracy, it's great to see you again, Tracy. I would like to start recording our conversations so that you can just talk as we go. Is that all right?
That's fine. Thank you, Dr. Felicity.
Excellent. So I understand that you're here for your follow-up visit.
Correct.
Excellent. How's your recovery been?
It's been good. I've been feeling a little bit of fatigue, but nothing too bad. I've been walking like you asked me to.
Excellent. So I'm just going to check your heart sounds and blood pressure. Sorry, it's been a while. Here we go. Listening. Very good. Your heart rhythm is quite stable at 88, and your blood pressure is 138/79. Do you have any questions or concerns that I can address?
No, Dr. Felicity, I'm just really happy that I'm recovering so well.
Great to hear. Since you have a history of high cholesterol, I'm going to order a lipid profile so that we can monitor your levels.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. So everything should be good. I'm going to pull up your summary and review that. So I'll just have a look. So, going to end there. We're going to attach. This is the ambient recording. Go to actions. So I'm going to reduce this. Excellent. So I'll just review her notes. Everything looks in order. I'm going to add those to her notes, and we'll have a chat. Everything really looks good, Tracy. So everything should be set to go. I would like you to take care, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. It's been great to see you again.
Thanks again, Dr.
Oh, you're
Felicity.
most welcome.
So again, let's just unpack a little of what we saw. So the chart, the efficiency in chart review. So before Dr. Felicity saw the patient, she was able to very quickly, with again a personalized prompt, and you'll hear, I'm sure, from Corey from class is speaking to us later about some of class's research, and I'm sure he's going to mention personalization, the really strong link between personalization and user satisfaction in the EHR world. So again, anything we can do to personalize the experience, and IntelliCare gives you all kinds of opportunities to personalize that. So that was a personalized prompt that Felicity has tweaked for her own usage that gives her the summary she needs to see before she sees an outpatient in her specialist clinic. We saves an enormous amount of time in terms of poking around the record and information retrieval. You see what you need. The record is always there. If you want to double check something, if something doesn't look quite right, you can always go back and look at the source data. But what we find in reality is with the AI chat, once the chat opens, the users tend to just keep it open because they're finding that everything they need from a reading point of view, a data viewing point of view is available to them. So you can imagine, the time savings and the amount of extra time you can spend with the patients, or, if you're interested in that sort of thing, seeing more patients in a day is also a possibility. The documentation, again, highly streamlined. You saw the AI produce a structured note, but also pull out actions for the record. So you saw the lipid profile at the bottom there. You saw a couple of other patient alerts that Felicity could have put in. And that's, in that middle action pane, you can just select or deselect whatever you want, and with a single button, push it off. If there's orders that require additional things, it'll take you to the order screen. Some orders you might have to do a bit of advanced work on. If they're a favorite that doesn't require editing, they go straight through without the order screen. So again, an enormous amount of time saving and the ability to just work with the system in a natural, fluid way, something we're really, really excited with IntelliCare. So we've done a fair bit of usability testing internally, and what you're seeing on the screen, which I'm blocking, are just, in our internal testing, the kind of savings that we're seeing. And as we start rolling this out more extensively around the world, we expect to be able to collect better and better data and be able to improve this. And finally, the action here is to imagine how you can reallocate that time you save, how IntelliCare can improve the care for your patients. And once again, everything you saw in this presentation is available in production today. It's in production at EMC in Jakarta, which you'll hear, I think, next about. We're close to production in 4 or 5 other sites. It's available commercially in Australia and New Zealand, and we're really thrilled to launch it here formally and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time, and we'll go on to the next.